Let's hear it for our incredible hosts for bringing us up. All right. All right. Well, you all look good today. How was the Youth Summit? Good. You have a good time? Yeah, this is our second one. Last year, we had the first one over at City Hall. How many of you were there at our first Youth Day at City Hall? Raise your hand. Raise them high. All right, good. What's up, Malika? She gave the Youth State of the City. Let's hear it from Malika. All right. All right, I want to acknowledge all the people who helped organize today's event. Office of Youth Development, that's right. The Youth Advisory Council and the Planning Committee. Wait, stand up if you're on the Youth Advisory Council, because I know it's a gang, y'all. All right, let's hear it for Youth Advisory Council. All the different departments, libraries and parks and workforce and libraries and youth leadership, Long Beach. And let's hear it from Monserrat on my team in the mayor's office, our youth liaison. So why do we focus on youth, and why am I the first mayor to bring youth together once a year? It's because, I remember what it was like being a young person and wanting things in your life and dealing with circumstances. I moved around a lot as a kid. I went to 14 different public schools across 5 different states. And I came here on a Greyhound bus when I was 11 years old. It was my single moms, my sister who was a year older than me, and my younger brother. And I remember I wanted to do things with my life. I wanted to, aspire to be successful. I wanted to own a home. I wanted to have dignity. And I remember sometimes my counselors, would tell me, hey, you should go this pathway when I wanted to go that pathway. I wanted to go to college, but sometimes my grades didn't really match up for that. And I also just remember the imagery of young people, always in the news. People who looked like me were always sort of beat up in the news as if somehow we focus on young people as if sometimes they're the problem. And we should somehow focus on how we can just fix the kids. If we could just fix the kids, we can just fix the problem. But I never believed in that. I know that young people have the opportunity and have the potential to do great things. And my position is, if we just fix the communities that are bringing out young people, then the young people are going to do fine. So rather than fixing the children, let's fix the problem. That's right. I think we should be spending our time focusing on the resources and the services to develop robust systems of support for young people. Young people shouldn't idealize escaping from their communities, growing up and getting out of here, right? We want young people to come back to the communities after they go out and shape the world and grow and develop. We want them to come back to their communities. We want them to be proud of their communities. So we have to invest in young people. We need young people to be a part of the solution. We need them inside City Hall. We need them inside government. That's why we have a Youth Day in the LBC, to bring them in, to be a part of that solution, to be a part of creating the communities that they can be proud of. I've heard, all these things about, broken men and all that stuff. I will tell you, it is easier to build strong children than to repair broken adults. Let's build strong young people, right? Let's invest in them early. Let's give them the opportunities that they need to reach their highest and best potential. And that's why, like the video said, we're focusing on expanding opportunity. Strong children, that's why we're investing in building a strong beach. Strong beach, right? That's right, Alana, strong beach, a whole summer of opportunity, right? Strong beach that's standing together to reach our next generation, S-T-R-O-N-G, strong, standing together to reach our next generation, which is expanding opportunities throughout the whole summer. We're a big city. We talk about the ports. We talk about the Olympics coming to Long Beach. We talk about Space Beach. But we need to make sure our young people are a part of all of that progress that happen in our community. It doesn't matter if we bring space companies if young people don't get a chance to work at those space companies or learn from those space companies. So this summer, we're going to be bringing all our departments together, our educational institutions, our private companies, to boost opportunities for all our young people. More youth jobs than we've ever done in our city's history this summer. More youth opportunities, safe passage programs, youth violence prevention programs. We're going to be rolling out the first Space Beach Youth Camp this summer, getting young people, opportunity youth, opportunities to aspire to their highest and best potential by connecting directly with space companies. Because we know if you just give, anybody can achieve their highest and best opportunity. Anybody can reach their highest and best potential if given the opportunity. We know that time and time again based on young Long Beach youth. We've seen it. It's something special about our soil here in Long Beach. That's why more people from Poly High School have gone to the NFL than any other high school in the United States. That's why people, you know, you think about people like Billie Jean King learning to play tennis in Houghton Park in North Long Beach, going on to do the Battle of the Sexes, influence Title IX, and give girls and women opportunities all around the world. That's Long Beach. That's why we know people like Max Irving, local water polo players playing in the Olympics this summer in Paris, right? We know our young people, when given an opportunity from entertainment to science to math to STEM to sports, they go off and they make an impact on the world. And so, speaking of that, we want to bring somebody out and have a conversation who came from our local community and went off and impacted the world and is making a difference and is putting Long Beach on the map with a new show on Netflix called The Vince Staples Show. So we're gonna bring out and welcome up, from the north side of Long Beach, my neighbor, Vince Staples. I think you're on this side. All right. Yeah. All right.
How everybody doing today?
All right. Vince Staples in his house. Let's hear it from Vince Staples. So Vince, thanks for making time. I know you're busy. I know you got a lot going on right now, but thanks for making time to come back to Long Beach and speak with our youth today at the Youth Summit. So these are young people from all across the city, north, south, east, west. They spent a whole day, talking about issues of their community, climate, and all of those things. And the real theme here is chasing opportunity. And you're somebody, and I've had the opportunity to know you for years now, and I love your story, how you chased opportunity, and now you're putting Long Beach on the map with your own Netflix show. The music is fire. I can recite North, all of those things. But I think let's start with maybe you telling us a little bit of your story on how you chased the opportunity to get where you are today.
It's pretty regular, you know. I'm old now. I'm 30, so the city was a lot different than it is now. But I think just positioning yourself to find new things and pique interest, not limiting yourself based on your surroundings, and getting on that bus. We didn't have Uber and stuff like that when I was y'all lady, so you had to get on that bus. And just making sure that you made friends and saw different parts of the city. You know, when I was a kid, it wasn't really that segregated. So just knowing how to operate, how to maneuver, how to speak to different people, and that shows you different things, and then you find different interests, which leads to music and things of that nature. But growing up out here, it's a lot more diverse and a lot more open than other places, whether we see it that way or not. So once you can kind of survive the Long Beach ecosystem, like you go other places in the world, it's pretty simple. You know how to talk to everybody, you know how to do a lot of things. So I just kind of took that with me when I was going to LA and going to different places, finding opportunity. And we have a unique perspective on the world and how we treat people. So that allows you to stand out in certain situations. So I just, you can't be afraid of certain things. Everything's not going to work. Everything's not going to be a good opportunity, a good situation. But you can't be afraid of that. It's worse stuff to be afraid of when you're coming up out here. So that's pretty much it.
So that's right. You said the diversity of Long Beach makes you ready to go anywhere in the world. That's actually a good point that I've heard many people say. You're exposed to a lot. You meet different people, different languages, English, Spanish, Khmer, Tagalog, right? And so you go around the world. You're used to dealing with different cultures and working with different people. That's a good point. All right, let's talk about this show. So how many of you guys saw Vince Staples' show? All right. I don't know about you, but my favorite episode was the family reunion episode. That was my favorite one. And I was able to come visit you on set that day at El Dorado Park. The cool thing about the show is it filmed right here in Long Beach. So
I think it's awesome that you brought the show here to like bring it back to the Long Beach community. And when I saw that episode, when I actually saw it, a lot of your family members reminded me of my family members. So how did like your upbringing in Long Beach, your family, inspire how you creatively produced that show? And why did you bring it home to Long Beach?
I mean, I think the things that you see in life, you know, inspire you regardless. So that's no matter what city you're from or no matter what your family is, it's going to be inspiration. You only know what's around you. And it was important to probably shoot it out here to me because it wasn't anything that looks like this as far as, you know, visual scape. And they wasn't messing with it at first. I'm not going to lie. They wasn't trying to come all the way out here and shoot it. It just costs more money. But it's important to showcase that opportunity. A big problem I kind of had coming up was that you had to leave to do anything. Like, you couldn't really do nothing out here. So as far as recording, my homie had a studio on 60th and John right there, between 60th and John, right by Bret Hart. But it was a barbershop that he turned to a studio, and it was trash, so we had to go elsewhere. So I think when I was making my show, I wanted to make sure that I was able to put some sort of infrastructure here. It was important to shoot in the city. It was important to shoot it, you know, in the not as publicized areas. You know, they'd shoot heat and stuff like that downtown, make it look like Miami, but I wanted it to really look like Long Beach. And you can't leave out important details in storage, especially when you're doing something creative, because that distinctive kind of palette that you have will make your stuff last longer. You know, whether a lot of people like it or not, it can't be replaced. And that's something that I had, so I just wanted to shoot it out here to make sure that it didn't get lost shooting in the Valley or Venice or anywhere else.
All right, so you said you wanted to hit the areas of town that don't get a lot of attention. So what are some of the sites that you shot the show in Long Beach? I'm sure these young people recognize and know these areas.
I mean, Locust and Market, we shot it on Gav, 7th and Gaviota. Where else did we shoot at? Locust and Market, 7th and Gaviota. We shot on Cherry. We shot on Plymouth. We shot kind of coming down Artesia between like Bellflower and Downey. Like, we shot over there a little bit. So
by the neighborhood.
What'd you say? Oh yeah, for sure. I had to lie to you, man. Yeah, he know what he talking about.
All right, so you got around. I heard Plymouth. I heard Market Street. So you up in North, and you got some Central Long Beach in there. I recognize some Central Long Beach.
Yeah, we got some stuff over there by Milliken. You know, where it's cute at. I just wanted to make sure to kind of really hit like the far east side and hit like the north side, because you don't really see much of that. You think of East Long Beach, they make sure you stay close to ocean whenever they show stuff. So I want to get a little bit deeper in.
I think that's great, because we know sometimes these areas of town, North, Central, West Long Beach, haven't gotten the resources, the intention, the investment. I know that because I live in North Long Beach, near Ramona Park, and I represented the city council. When we first met, I was a new council member in North Long Beach, and you were like 12 years old. But you know, now you're like 30. But I remember even back then, we were talking about like the assets of North Long Beach, and we talked about how people, you know, there's high home ownership levels there, and you know, young people are aspiring to opportunity there. And I remember you actually cited that when I think you were on like Breakfast Club, and you brought it up. It was like, yeah, you know, you know, people like to come down on our neighborhood, but there's a lot of good people and a lot of good things there. But what stood out to me was even back then, I think we had just opened the Obama Library. You were focused on giving back even back then, early in your career. I remember after we went toward the library, you showed up and brought them an Xbox, so they only had a PlayStation, or was it the other way around? But you showed up and brought them whatever they were missing.
We brought both of them.
You brought both of them?
Yeah.
Nah, we had something. Don't do us like that.
We didn't? Look at them. We brought both of them. Y'all done had nothing up there. It was quiet. It was dry.
All right, so which one is better, PlayStation or Xbox?
Hey, man, I don't get into that, man. Whatever floats your boat. But y'all it was a 3D printer there. It just needed some donation work. I mean, it's important to give back, but I don't really consider it giving back. Like, that just, to me, it feels just really condescending. It's nothing wrong with this place, bro.
Right.
Like, you go to L.A., you go to any other places, it's California, you know. The way that capitalism works is you have the rich amongst the poor, and that's every place in the world. I think it's important to kind of you got to have self-esteem about the community that you come from and have self-esteem about yourself. And then growing up, I didn't feel like I lived in the hood. or none of that stuff. We got Lakewood Mall. You catch the bus, catch the cow.
Yeah, you can
go
walk
kick
to
it with the
Lakewood
white
Mall.
people. You know what I mean? Like, there was a lot of diversity in the city, so you never felt like you was limited. And I feel like as time goes on, you know, pop culture and social media and things like that will make you feel like you live in a worse place than you do. But it's a lot of opportunity out here. Our crime rate not that crazy. We just don't got good parking. That's probably the worst part about it. But other than that, man, I think this is a good place to stay. It's a good place to raise your family. And I feel like the best thing for the city is for us to have enough confidence in ourselves to where we don't feel like we got to leave. Because I done lived everywhere in the world, and I still come out here every day. So it's like, it's just nothing wrong with this place.
Right. I mean, and we talked about that kind of in the opening. We don't feel like young people should have to leave their communities to be able to have housing, to be able to have access to a good job. All these things exist here. Long Beach is still one of the most affordable beach communities you will find. And I was able to buy my first home here, and I didn't grow up rich, but I was able to buy a home in North Long Beach in 2009, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, and I was 25. I had a job. President Obama was just elected. He did down payment assistance for first-time home buyers. I took advantage of it. And there was also a program called FHA, First-Time Home Buyer Program. And youth are really defined as 18 to 20, 16 to 26, right? That adolescent generation. So I was in that adolescent generation when I was able to buy my first home. Right now, prices are so high that it's hard for people to really see that. Even though I didn't make a whole lot of money then, I had all my bedrooms were rented out to roommates to make the mortgage payment, but we made it work. Today, the biggest hurdle to buy a home is down payment. People can't afford the down payment. It's not even the credit worthiness. That's why we're doing programs like down payment assistance programs here in Long Beach again, to make sure young people have access to things they need to try to buy a home. And young people are dealing with more now than they did before. Student debt is out of control. That's why I support a lot of the work on canceling student debt, because you're carrying a lot of debt. You're starting off life with a lot of debt, which is a problem. But I want to go back to the thing about like giving back. To me, it's service, right? Serving, because it wasn't just an Xbox and a PlayStation. We started a youth institute, and you helped partner with YMCA to do like a digital media center even back then. And so, I think that goes to investing in young people to be able to follow in your footsteps and pursue art. So what would you say to a young person who wants to do well, wants to achieve great things, maybe become an artist, maybe become whatever they want to be? What would you say to them, and why is it important that we continue to invest in having those resources in our communities?
I think you just have to define it for what it means to you. I think we see a lot of things every day on social media and in passing that kind of glorifies gluttony and like this extravagant kind of lifestyle and excessiveness, and that's not the real world, and that's not what you need. So I think it's important to kind of define who you want to be and what you want in life without thinking about what other people have, what other people do, and put your time and your efforts into the things that kind of make you happy. Because if you value yourself, if the people around you value yourself, then that automatically answers crime, that automatically answers a lot of these things. I think there's a lack of understanding in your community nowadays. People don't know their neighbors. Like the younger people from our neighborhood or community, you drop them off on Artesia, tell them walk to South, they're going to get lost. And that's not the way that it used to be. So I think that, you have to invest in yourself, invest in things that you care about, and know that there are different levels to success. If you want to work in any entity, any, form of art or anything, you can be at the top and you can be at the bottom, but everyone is valued equally when it's time to get the work done. So don't look at yourself like you have to be the pinnacle of everything. Have high self-esteem, have high hopes, and that'll get you in a good situation.
All right. Have your self-esteem. So I've asked a lot of questions already, but there's young people who want to ask some questions to us. So let's take some questions from the audience. All right, who's handling the mic? Abraham, Montserrat.
All right, y'all. So we have some questions here from some incredible youth from organizations in Long Beach. So I want to hear some noise. Who are the youth here from EM3? Make some noise. Or Poly. Come on, a little louder. There we go. So we have here today Aiden Chim. That's a student at Poly High School who has a question for the mayor and Vince.
Hello, everyone. My name is Aiden Chin. I go to Long Beach Polytechnic High School. I'm from the east side. Can we get some noise from the east side over here? Yeah. First of all, I just want to say it's crazy to think that y'all two was in me and my homie's shoes at some point, especially you, Mayor Richardson. You kind of big, man. I'm not going to lie. Nah, I play. But on a
Is that a fat joke?
No. I'm saying you small, bro. You got
Getting it together.
What's that, shoulder pads? Or Nah, but on a serious note, though, I have a question first for you and one for Vince. My first question is, I met you at the Youth Coalition meeting, and at the end of that meeting, you asked the audience if anyone had any questions, and the room fell silent. I actually did have a question, but I wasn't able to get it out, and you left. Right after you left, everyone in that room was like, dang, bro, you should ask your question. And then I was like, dang, I don't know, I couldn't answer. It's like, you know what she was feeling? You was feeling that imposter syndrome. And I was wondering if you ever dealt with that feeling of imposter syndrome, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, imposter syndrome is real. When you are the first one to do something, there's always people who are waiting for you to fail, and that plays into your psyche with every move you make. But I will tell you, I try to connect back to my family. I get my power, I draw back to my family story. So when my mother was 7 years old, and my daughters are 7 and 9, so they're young. When my mother was 7, she was one of the first 5 students to integrate her school down in Alabama. She's in the deep South, Jim Crow South. Now, she was volunteered to do so by her mom. Her mom said, you go be first. Now, this is like Ku Klux Klan area. It's scary. Why would you send your 7-year-old daughter into that? When we just saw all the stuff with Ruby Bridges, and if you know your civil rights history, it was a difficult time. Her mother sent her in because she grew up in the Jim Crow South. She was protesting when George Wallace said black students couldn't attend the University of Alabama. It was an intentional action to send her kid in there. Well, that spirit of like stepping up and being the first and stepping up for future generations was passed from my grandmother to my mother. And my mother passed that to me. So when I was young and I didn't, my grades weren't the best. I said that earlier. I didn't get into Long Beach State. I got in Cal State Dominguez Hill. It's all good. Go Toros, right? But I remember being the first in a lot of circles. And you build the confidence by continuing to push yourself. So I was student body president in college, right? I was first in my family to buy a home, right? When I got elected to city council in North Long Beach, I was the youngest council member. I'm still the youngest member of that body, and that was like 10 years ago. We need some of y'all to step up and run, so I'm not the youngest member of the body anymore, right? But all those things build up your confidence so you can reassure yourself that you belong here, and your responsibility is to make sure that you're not the last one, that you hold that door open for others. Even as becoming mayor, when we all got together and won that historic race a little more than a year ago to be the first black mayor in Long Beach, first mayor with small children in our city history, and the first mayor from North Long Beach. When we did that together, we did it with a mandate. We did it with a lot of people, more people turned out than any race in history. We did it by winning a bigger margin than anybody in history. So we got to remind us that when people say he doesn't belong here or whatever, right? You have to remember who sent you here. It's the people. Right? And we here to do the bidding of the people. So thanks a lot for that question. Now, what you got for Vince?
All right. Before I ask my question to Vince, I actually got a gift for you, bro.
Hold on. What you got?
I got a gift for you, Mr. Mayor Richardson.
It's okay. Focus on Vince. It's fine.
No, it's actually at home. I'm working on a personal project for you, so I'll try to send that out to you as soon as I can. Yeah. But
all right.
My question for you, Vince, is I know you grew up on the north side and you've dealt with a lot of experience that me and my homies have. My question is, how do you know like what path to take? Because like growing up as a youth, we got a lot of different opportunities, you feel me? Like you chose the path of music and now you got a Netflix show and stuff, but my question is like, when you were going down that path, did you like right away know what you want to do and you just like kept pushing? Or did you have like plan B, plan C, plan D, you know what I'm saying? If that makes sense?
Nah, it makes sense. Thank you first. But I done lived all over here, bro. I lived on 5th and Temple, 11th and Gladys, 10th and Temple, Atlantic. I lived on 4th and Daisy, 10th and Cerritos. I lived on 68, 65th, 64, Artesia. I lived on Atlantic. But with that being said, I probably went. How old are you right now?
I'm 17.
All right, so I think by the time I was 15, by the time I was 15, I already been to Jordan, Mayfair, OFL, Saya. I was a placement. Had to go to school in Pomona or Anaheim or something like that. And I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing. I didn't really start doing music until I was 16, 17. I had been out of high school for 2 years. The way that my family kind of set up, it wasn't really a plan or other options. I think the fact that you're thinking about the fact that you have options is a big deal, and I think you need to give yourself credit for that. A lot of times when you're young, you feel like you need to have all the answers, and that's not really how it works. You just got to find the things that you care about and find the people that you care about, and it work itself out, because I never wanted to make music. I never wanted to have a television show. I never wanted to do none of that. I just knew one day I was like, all right, I'm not trying to get in trouble no more because it's not worth it. And I had a friend named Jabari who got killed when we was 15. And then when I got older, I realized how it was kind of a lot of different circumstances, but when we was kids, that was a very jarring thing to deal with, being in the 8th grade, and then you gotta, pick your homie up. And a lot of these times when we kids out here, it's such a beautiful place, and it's such a nice place, and such a diverse place that when bad things happen, we panic and we overreact because we're not used to dealing with it. And I think you have to give yourself credit for thinking about the fact that you want things out of life and just let life happen. And if you work hard enough and, you're responsible with yourself and your finances, you'll be all right, but don't put too much pressure on yourself.
Vince, did you see this? This is pretty incredible. Take a minute and read that. All right, what's the next question?
So I know we have some young black scholars in the room. Are you here? Where are you? Wave your hands. Come on, some noise, a little bit more noise. Be excited, you're here at Youth Day. That's right. All right, is Kenny here? Cool. And Kenny has a question.
Hi, I'm Kenny Bell. I'm a student from Wilson High School. And my question for both of you was, knowing that where you are now, I'm sure you went through much adversity to get to where your position, and I'm sure you still do to this day, but how do you deal with it and show people that what you're trying to do is correct?
That's a good question. I think it's really important not compromise your integrity and ask yourself important questions. You have to continue to ask yourself who you are and what you want to be and handle it that way. You can't go looking for it in the world, because if you can deal with yourself, then whatever they got to bring you, it's not really going to bother you that much. You're already on the path. I was in YBS at Mayfield for a little bit before they kicked me out. Our hoodies was harder than that, though. We gotta get y'all some new hoodies. Because we need y'all in we need y'all in Jordan blue. You know what I'm saying? I know y'all go to Wilson, but we gonna get y'all a Jordan blue YBS hoodie. But yeah, man, just give yourself grace, bro. It's supposed to be hard. For one, you black. For two, you a man. And for three, you want to be a good person. None of them things work in America. None of them things work in California. So it's supposed to be hard. But the fact that you think in the way that you're thinking, you'll be all right.
Here's advice I would give. Everyone, don't be too hard on yourself, right? Because you're going to make mistakes. It's literally a part of your genetics. Your brain isn't even fully developed till you're 26. But the part of your mind that tells you what you want, fully developed by 18. So you know what you want, but the part of the body that says, slow down, hold on, it's not there yet, right? That's why car insurance companies charge you more money under the age of 25 than after the age of 25, because your risk is higher. And so if you know that, and you know that you're going to make mistakes, build up coping skills for yourself, right? To be able to deal with adversity and not to be too hard on yourself. I would also say connect with an institution, because if you're in the street, you are treated as an adult at the age of 18. But if you're on a college campus, there's campus laws, which are designed for a certain age group. If you work in a certain environment that hires people of that age group, there are, developmentally appropriate tools and training to help keep you on the right track to get through that adolescent period of like 16 to 26. The other thing I would say is temper your mistakes. If you know, if you feel yourself heading into a mistake, try not to make it a permanent mistake. Try to make it something that affects your whole life course, right? Because you can always come back and fix things, right? So don't be too hard on yourself. You will have the ability to course correct. If there's any time to make mistakes in life, it's when you're young, because you have the rest of life ahead of yourself. So when you think about, I'm upset, something happened, I'm really angry right now, give yourself a moment, right, before you make a mistake that puts you on an entire changes the whole course of your life. Because after 26, you're gonna look back on it and say, I was angry about that, but it really wasn't that big a deal, when you look back on it. So build your coping skills, because you're gonna make mistakes. Don't be too hard on yourself when you deal with adversity, right? Adversity is there to make you fumble, to make you make mistakes, right? But just don't make it a game-ending mistake, if that makes sense. All right, who's next?
All right. I'm right here next to Giselle from the Youth Leadership Institute. I know y'all know about YLI, so she's got a question for you.
Hi. So my question is, what is the best piece of advice you would offer to someone who is one day looking into becoming a council member and maybe even the mayor of Long Beach?
Well, you should work for a council member or a mayor of Long Beach to learn from them on the steps that they took to become a mayor or a council member. For me, I don't want to be the first and the last. I think that all of you are incredible, and I think that we should have more young people engaged in politics. For me, what really inspired me, and this may sound cliche, but it was when President Obama showed up on the scene, this young senator from Illinois, the same state I was born in. I never lived there, but I was born on the Air Force Base in Illinois. And I was inspired because he spoke to my generation. He was talking about the rising American electorate. That's the coalition of young people, diversity, all of these folks together engaging in politics and voting. So I was personally inspired. I was like 21 or something like that when he came on the scene. I was at Cal State Dominguez Hills, which very diverse. Back then we called it the Black College of the West Coast, at Dominguez Hills, and I got involved. I started, knocking on doors, helping out campaigns, and I learned a lot. I was a quick learner. When I was 26, I started working for the city of Long Beach. Initially, I didn't understand the value of working in the community you live in. I didn't understand that, because I thought the path was to go to Sacramento and become a fellow and go try to work for the governor or something, right? It was here. It was Councilmember Steve Neal who gave me the opportunity to be a chief of staff at 26 years old and really work toward making a difference. You see a vacant lot and say, I want a dog park there, work on making it a dog park. You see graffiti and say, the young people are telling us what areas of the community need attention, so put a mural there and let the young people paint it. So we did those things, right? The district didn't have a Starbucks, it didn't have a library, it didn't have a bank. You go to North Long Beach today, those things exist. The art exists, the Obama Library exists. There's a bank on Artesia and Atlantic, right? You have $40 million going to Artesia right now. It'll be the best, it's the biggest investment into any corridor in Long Beach right now. Those things happen because I was given an opportunity. Now, if you want to step up and learn and go into public office, the best thing you can do is start learning early. There's a program right now called the Long Beach Public Service Corps, a brand new program that's bringing 50 Long Beach City College, is there any public service corps in the house right now? All right, so 50 right now students, seniors from Long Beach State, Long Beach City College, Cal State Dominguez Hills, who are getting hands-on experience right now working for council members, city departments, mayor's office, like working every day, learning. That is that's called the foot in the door. Chief, the one in the video, Jonathan Coleman, we call him Chief. Chief said he interned at City Hall. It was in my office when I was a council member. So those opportunities really open up the door to do even greater things. And I feel a personal responsibility, and even when people have worked in my office go on and do other things, I still look out for them and pay attention to them, because it's really a part of our responsibility to bring up the next generation along. What you got? You know, you got some advice?
I never been on city council before.
Well, I'll tell you, man, you know, Vince is pretty smart and pretty engaged. He sent out a tweet during the campaign, and none of my tweets have ever gotten as much action as that one tweet he did. People were still talking about, hey, Vince Staples endorsed you for mayor. You know what I'm saying? Good looking out.
It's all good.
All right, who's next?
So I know we've got a lot of folks from Love Beyond Limits. Where y'all at right now? That's right. Love Beyond Limits is an organization here in Long Beach that's truly making an impact in so many lives in our youth. And so right now I've got Sanaa here next to me, and she's got a question.
Hi, my name is Sanaa. I'm the vice president of Love Beyond Limits Youth Board, and I'm a senior at Long Beach Polytechnic High School. I have a question for the both of you. First, for the mayor, in 2024, the issue of the housing crisis and homelessness continues to heighten among Long Beach residents. Homeless shelters in particular are often viewed as short-term solutions to homelessness. Can you please share initiatives or solutions you would like to see Long Beach City implement to prevent the continuing cycle of homelessness?
Absolutely. Let's start off with, I know what it's like to be housing insecure. I mentioned earlier I moved around a lot. I remember when I was like 15, I was working at Jack in the Box, and my mother was working at Arby's. She was a welder for General Motors initially, but when we moved to California, we struggled. So she was working at Arby's, and my sister was working at the local stationery shop. I had to work, I paid the light bill. That was my contribution to the house. Sister paid the phone bill, and my mom paid the rent. My sister and brother shared one bedroom, because it was a 2-bedroom apartment. Sister and brother shared one bedroom. My mom had a bedroom, so I slept on the couch, which was fine because we had one TV, and it was in the living room. So I got to watch TV late. Now, I say that to say, back then, rent was probably $800 for that 2-bedroom apartment. I think that's what we were paying back then. It's a lot higher right now, and young people feel the pressure when I remember when we had to move around, that meant making new friends, the anxiety of being a new kid at school again, not having the dignity, right? People knowing that, is a, part of, you kind of embarrassed sometimes when you know that, when people know that you're moving around from place to place, or you lost your place or whatever. So that's why we have to look at long-term solutions to address this challenge. Next week, we're pulling together a roundtable with the United States Interagency Council on Homelessness from the White House and stakeholders from youth-serving organizations, workforce organizations, housing organizations, to begin a process right now of a new initiative called a Youth Right to Housing in Long Beach. A youth right to housing means young people of a certain age that are the most vulnerable. They have a right. If they don't have housing, you have a responsibility as a city, an actual right to provide them shelter, housing, to provide them access to job opportunities, support services, a whole package of things. A youth right to housing. And this is a fundamental step. We'd be the first city in California to do this. It's a fundamental step toward achieving functional zero on youth homelessness in our city. So by focusing on youth, by intervening in their lives at that particular age range, you're gonna prevent a lifetime of homelessness. You're gonna make sure at their most vulnerable moment that our city shows up for them so that they can, like I said before, achieve their highest and best potential. Now, what you got for Vince? You guys keep asking me these questions, these hard questions first. Thank you. What you got for Vince?
Thank you
You can
for
ask me
that.
questions every day.
And for Vince, as a Long Beach native, in what ways, good or bad, have you seen Long Beach change, and what concerns do you have for youth of color in the future?
I mean, I feel like racial dynamics have gotten way worse in the past couple years. Now it's kind of reminiscent of 2004 through like 2006. Middle school era was really bad. I think there's a lack of community, and that comes from the top down. I think there's a lack of a feeling of having safe havens for these kids to do things and to go places and to have opportunities. One of my friends' kid plays at Cherry Park, baseball, kind of a travel ball kind of situation, but just throughout the city. The gatekeeping of those things by people who have other opportunities, other monies. Every team needed $1,500 and they couldn't raise anything, but they playing at a public park. The pricing of everything, especially from housing to just the ability to have a hobby, is kind of pricing out people of color. When I first got my record deal, I got like 100 grand, which is like 20 grand, which is, beneath minimum wage, and that's your pay for probably the next 2 to 3 years. So we stayed on in a one-bedroom apartment on 5th and Temple, and it was 900. Right now in that building is probably like 1750, and that was not that long ago. So I think, when there's no access to additional funds and you don't have the money to give your children things to do for pastimes and the hobbies, which leads to the streets. And right now, it's in a situation I haven't seen it be in a long time. So I think when you don't give children opportunity to interact with their community, to meet their neighbors, to play sports, to have hobbies, then when they get older, and you're meeting people for the first time when you're in a really weird state of, trying to find yourself and trying to figure out who you are in the world, things just kind of trickle down and get worse. So I think the best thing that we can do in the city is have opportunity for people to know their neighbors. Because, like I said, I'm in the city all the time, and these kids don't know the people down the street. And then next thing you know, they beefing, and the next thing you know, somebody passes away, and then there's no way to stop it. And it didn't used to be like that. And I think that that's something that needs to be fixed, because we turn it into these other places, and that's not what we need to be.
That's profound. I think that's great. You said people need to know their neighbors. People need to know the kids who are growing up in their neighborhood. And, I can remember I spent some time down in Alabama with my grandfather, who lived down in Alabama. Every single Saturday, I was, 10 years old. Every single Saturday, all the kids in the neighborhood, before you go outside and play, we had to go to somebody's house and help with some yard work. All of them. And so we all got to know each other. You could get in trouble. If you mess up, that parent could get you, right? Yeah. But we would be out there, hacking up wood and doing all that stuff. And you really got to know all the kids in the neighborhood. So we have to find ways for people who live in proximity to each other, because we have school of choice. You can be going to different schools. People are doing things online, but we have to figure out ways for people to still get to know the people in their local communities and who they're growing up around in proximity.
And create space based on interest. I think that's very important.
Yeah.
It's something new on 2nd Street every other day. And some of those spaces can go to the community and the people of the community, because we don't have that, and we never had that. And at this point in time, it could help a lot.
So activation that aligns with the interests of young people.
Exactly.
I think he's on point, right?
Yep. Yes.
Right? That's good. All right, who's next?
I'm next. Okay. My name is Arthur, and I'm representing Long Beach Community College. Long Beach in the house.
LBCC.
Northside, Artesia, Long Beach Boulevard. But I'm a Sage, the president of the Sage, mentoring over at the college. I'm a Moja, and I'm a part of Justice Scholars. And my question, I have two questions in one for you, and don't trip, I got one for him too, all right?
Start with Vince,
okay.
Man.
Start with Vince?
Y'all keep starting with me.
Okay.
Start with him.
So Vince, right? Season 2, if you need somebody, holla at your boy, all right?
I got you.
We'll leave here, you feel me? I'm serious, on a serious note, but look, right? Hey, who you think winning between Drake and Kendrick? It's going up on social media. Don't trip, I got your back, bro.
You don't want to know how I feel about that shit, bro.
All right, look, get with me after the...
You really want to know how I feel about that
how
shit?
You feel?
I want to know.
Yeah.
I think, so I'm signed to Universal, right?
Yeah.
I've been signed to Universal since I was 17. I haven't got a back end. That means when you turn in an album, they give you payment. I haven't got a back end since 2017, 18. So I done been on the same record label for 13 years, so to say. that record label just folded all of its independent labels and subsidiaries into each other, which means how we was kids, you got Rockefeller, you got Def Jam, you got all these things, none of them exist no more. They fired all the heads of the labels, and if they didn't, they turned them into glorified A&Rs. They cut off 50% of the people who work in all these departments. Most of those people is us, people of color that come from hip-hop and R&B and these other things, right? Then you got record labels opening up IPOs. You got record labels destroying their relationships with TikTok, Spotify, things that pay out artists because they want to start their own shit. So then we getting priced out of our contracts. We getting priced out of our imprints. There are no labels basically that are incentivized to sign black music, and it's happening in front of our eyes. And while Taylor Swift is fighting for people to be able to have streaming money, niggas is on the internet arguing with each other about some rap shit. So that's how I feel about it, honestly. Neighbors is on the
Language, Vince. Language.
About
Nah, I appreciate you keeping it real.
So I think, personally, I think we better than that. I think we deserve better than that because we've been saying for decades that we want people to respect black music and black art and black people. And I think for that to happen, we got to respect ourselves. And they don't make it easy for us, but we got to try to work a little bit harder at that.
Yeah. Thanks. I like
And
that.
I think Vince needs to be in the conversation even more because that's more profound than anything. Like I woke up this morning and heard the new one from Kendrick. I mean, you know what I'm saying? And but I'll tell you, this was very profound. We just heard that we're all dealing with the same challenges, and the industry is shifting, and we should be uplifting black music right now, not celebrating people tearing each other down. That's pretty profound.
Black people, though, because you're not, the dude that work at Dunkin' Donuts is important as Drake and Kendrick because it's an ecosystem. We all matter. And I think that's our problem is that, we looking too high up. We need to kind of look at each other. If we don't do that, then we wasting our time.
All right, you over here telling the truth.
I can't be the president. I got some stuff on my jacket, man. They not letting that happen.
We believe in second chances in Long Beach. We're a second chance community. That's right, Justice Scholars.
Yeah.
All right, what you got for me now?
All right, so what I got for you is how can we promote positive youth development and help rehabilitate youth involved with gangs?
Well, I think what we're doing today is a big part of it. We have to, make sure that we're engaging and talking directly with young people. If we don't understand the language that they're speaking, how can we connect with them? I also think, we have to, when people expect, there's this quote I love from Dr. King. It's like, you can't force out darkness with darkness. Only light can do that. When you see challenges in our communities, the answer is always flood those communities with opportunities, period. That is always the response. You have to, when I was younger, when I was on the city council, in my first term, there was an incident where there were 3 young men who, tragically lost their lives. And they'd all happened within a few days of each other. All 3 were they were not related, different incidents. Now, what stood out to me was that they were all within the same age group, 19 to 21, and they all happened between 12 and 2 in the afternoon on a weekday. That was key to me because I wasn't that far removed from that age at that time. And I thought to myself, what was I doing on a weekday between 12 and 2 in the afternoon? That's how it impacted me. And I was thinking, at that time, I had an opportunity. I went to Cal State Dominguez Hills. They let me in. I was an EOP student, right? And they let me in. So I was either in class or at work or somewhere on a college campus between 12 and 2 in the afternoon. So that presented the next question to me. If those young men that were impacted, Black Latino men, if those young men who had lost their lives were on a college campus or connected to a job or an opportunity during a weekday between 12 and 2, would they be alive today? The answer for me was because this was North Long Beach, there was nothing going on 12 to 2 in the afternoon. It's not like there was a big job going on. It's not like it was a dormitory there, right? It's a predominantly residential community. So we have to present opportunities that are appealing and attracting to our young people. And we're the city of Long Beach. We have it all. We have the #1 university in the Cal State system, the flagship at Long Beach State. You have Cal State Dominguez Hills right next door that is one of the most accessible institutions. You have Long Beach City College, which really represents the city and the community. There's literally no barrier. You have the Long Beach College Promise, where you get 2 years free if you came out of Long Beach School to go to Long Beach City College. You get into Long Beach State automatically if you meet the requirements to the College Promise, and that's tight because I didn't even get in, and I'm the mayor, right? So that's pretty impressive. You have all these resources. The Port of Long Beach, the #1 exporter in the United States is in Long Beach, where you're doing $200 billion of trade a year right there. You can't tell me we can't find a good paying job for that 19-year-old in our community, that 20-year-old, to work at that port, to get paid longshoreman wages, be able to buy a house at 25? You telling me we can't do that as a community? You got the Olympics coming, where we're hosting more events than most jurisdictions, and young people in Long Beach have already proven that they're going off to influence the world. You telling me we can't find the opportunities to flood that population of 19 to 21-year-olds? I don't believe that. I don't accept that. So for me, we have to work together and make it a citywide focus and effort. All of us have to do everything we can to flood all of our youth, not just some of them, especially the hardest to reach, especially the disconnected ones, with every opportunity they have to reach their highest potential. So that's how I feel about the situation.
Okay, and I got one more question. And what opportunities are there in the city for people who are formerly incarcerated but super talented? Vince.
Well, Justice Scholars at Long Beach City College is a great program, giving second chances. The city of Long Beach just rolled out second chances initiatives to give you city jobs. We're now moving forward, put it on the ballot to lock in new preferences to get city jobs. So if you live in a city, if this passes, if you live in a city, Long Beach, you get a preference on a city job. If you went to a Long Beach institution, or Cal State Dominguez Hills, Long Beach City College, or Compton College, which is on the border of Long Beach, you get a preference on a city job in Long Beach. Or if you're working part-time, like in the parks. A lot of people's first job is in the parks. If a permanent job opens up, you get a pathway, you get a preference. We have to use our assets, what we have, to create as many opportunities as possible. And we're a city that's a second chance city. So there's a lot of things we do now with hiring. We accept work credit in lieu of education in many cases. We offer second chances. A lot of the physicals, even drug testing, like on cannabis, a lot of that stuff we've removed on city hiring. So we have to remove the barriers to give people these opportunities. Good questions. Who's next?
Hello, my name's Edric. I'm a youth leader with Books and Buckets, and my question for you right here, Vince, it'll be, as an artist, what advice would you have? And as a person trying to chase their dreams, what else advice would you have?
Learn the economics of the business. Learn the real payouts and the payout structures, because what happens in art, whether it's film or music, anything, is set up to put you in debt. So if you know how the money works, then you'll never be in debt and you can make a profit. It's not as hard to make a profit as it seems, but it's hard to get out of bad contracts. It's hard to get out of bad stipulations and terms, because those things will last you. You know, when you sign a record deal, you're signed in perpetuity, name and likeness, to the extent to the known universe, meaning that if they put people on Mars tomorrow, then they own your name and your face and everything that you make, and they can sell it to the aliens. And that's crazy verbiage for contracts, and that's how this thing works. So if you know the business of it, you'll be able to know how to kind of keep yourself afloat, and try to retain as much ownership as everything as you can, and make what you want, because singularity is important. If you can be replaced, if your story can be replaced, then you can have a career for the rest of your life. So those are the two most important things I would say.
All right. All right, next one.
Great. So we can get some questions from the audience now. We got one right here from North Long Beach.
Hello, I'm Aram. I live in the Ramona Park. I live on Cade. I just have one question for both of y'all, and then just a comment for Vince. But I live on Cade, so there's a liquor store named Young's Market. So if you got $10, I know there's inflation, but back then, if you got $10, what's your snack order?
I'm not having $10 and going to Cade. If I got $10, I'm going to Wiener Schnitzel.
But what about right now? $10 right now.
But I hear you. Man, right now, I'm going to probably get a bottle of water to be healthy. Then I'm going to get some hot Cheetos to kill myself. And then I'm going to keep the rest in my pocket, bro. I'm pretty simple.
For sure.
Or I might buy one of them gas station hats. You feel me? Get fly real quick. But you got to go to CNC, bro. K's, that's too far, bro. You got to go to 64th. Young's is higher than TNC.
Yeah, but that's mine. That's my street.
Come
right
on,
there.
bro. Well, it's half a block.
Also, where'd you get your jacket from?
Oh, man, that's a long story, my brother. That's a long story.
Don't be putting him on the spot by where he's buying his clothes. I don't know about that Wiener Schnitzel answer, though.
Well, my name is O'Neil Serrano. I am a sophomore at Long Beach City College, about to be transferring. And just like you, I am the associate student body vice president of here at PCC. So my question is for both of you, if you could talk with your younger self, and you know that younger version of yourself is taking advantage of all the resources available for you to grow, and you have this mental pressure to perform because you have so much stake and you have so much support. What would you tell yourself, and what would you do in that situation?
Okay, I'll go first this time. I would tell myself to go to class in college because it took me way too long to finish, and it's easier to do it when you don't have a whole lot of responsibilities like a full-time job and kids and all that. Yeah, go to class. I would say, again, like I said earlier, don't be too hard on yourself because you're going to make mistakes. And I would give myself a preview into the future. I think adulthood, the way that I've seen it, is really in 3 phases. The first phase is like your first 10 years of adulthood. You're getting to know yourself. It's all about identity. I call it the self phase. Date who you're going to date, go to school, you're going to go to school, try different jobs, travel, right? You're really learning about yourself. The second phase, you know, is the next 10 years. Let's call it 28 to 38. Or some people is sooner, 26 to 36. Some people is later, 30 to 40. But that second phase is the wealth phase. So first is self, then it's wealth. It's not about being rich. It's about, this is where you got to get serious about the career you're in. Put down your roots on the community. You're going to put down the community, your roots in. Be serious about the job you're going into. That's the wealth phase, right? Think about how big your family is going to be, because that's a lot of colleges you got to pay for and people you got to feed. And then the third phase is health. So self, wealth, health. Health is like you know who you are, your identity's worked out. You figured out your career, where you own a home, where you live. But that next phase is really about extending your life. It's about your mental health, your physical health. It's about the well-being of your community. That's the health phase. Extend your life so you can do as much good as you can. So I would tell myself early on, like be easy on yourself. This is the time to be selfish, but make sure you go to class so that phase doesn't bleed into the next phase, so you can get that wrapped up and move on with your life. That's what I would say.
Yeah, I would also say to go to school, you know, all the good stuff, but I think for me specifically, most importantly, it would be to listen to the people in your circumstances that come before you. Out here, it's a lot of things that are institutional that might seem like they only happening to you. I think that answers our other person's question when he spoke about, you know, how to get kids out of the streets, so to say. And I think what Rex said was poignant, but I think the important part is that, you know, by the time you're 19, it's already over with. You know what I mean? You already have started that snowball effect of the troubles and the things that are closed doors. So just appreciate your childhood. Know that there are things in place to rob you of that, and don't let it happen. Because a lot of the times we don't use discernment when hearing from the people in our community that are older than us, because they might not have the things we want or the things that, you know, we look forward to or look up to based on the things that we marketed in this country. So just listen to the people that come before you. They got good information, and it's a reason they was able to get to their point in time. Because at my age right now, I'm 30. To be honest, most of the people I grew up with, they not here no more. whether they incarcerated or whether they passed away, and I mean like a vast majority. And you know, my mama told me that was gonna happen in the 6th grade, but I didn't want to hear it. So I think just paying attention to the knowledge that's passed down to you and not making the same mistakes that, you know, that are systemically given to us.
All right. All right. Okay, I think we got time for one or two more.
Hi, I'm Phoebe. I'm one of the Long Beach Public Service Corps Fellows in the Office of Youth Development, so shout out the mayor. My question's for Vince. I feel like you're a very strong advocate for the things you believe in. I think it's very hard, like we're always told as youth that like we have a voice and to raise our voice and to share our stories. But like, you know, I'm a student at Cal State Long Beach and we were just protesting for Palestine, and like for movements like that, there's a lot of pushback. And so how do you just stay strong in your voice and in your beliefs and like stay true to yourself, like to the public especially, you know?
Because it's not for the public, it's for you. I think you have to realize that things that you do aren't for other people's consumption or for their approval. It's because you care about it. And if you value yourself and you value your contribution to the world, then you should feel like you should be able to say whatever, no matter what comes from it, because you get one of these lives and you don't want to make sure, you want to make sure that you don't waste it worrying about other people. So if that's what you believe in, then believe in it no matter what's going on.
All right. Okay, let's do one more question.
I'm Anna Lee, and I have a question for both of you, I guess.
It's the last one, so make it a good one.
I wanted to ask, what do you think that you look forward to in this new generation, both of you? And also, I want to, what do you think that you both look forward to in this new generation? And I also want to thank you both for being out here too, you know, showing love to the community as well. So, yeah.
I would say access to knowledge. It's a lot of stuff when I was a kid that was gate kept that we didn't get to see, that we didn't get to know the ins and outs of, just with the internet and technology and the way that the youth kind of take advantage of it. I'm interested to see how people utilize that knowledge in the future to make, you know, this overall better place, because now they can't really keep much from you.
You know, I'm a dad, so when I think of next generation, I think about my girls. So I have 2 girls, 7 and 9, and I want them to have opportunities that I never had access to. And I don't want, and when I talk about my girls, I really think about just the next generation of children. I don't think it should be so hard to be successful. I think we should want our young people to win. I think there's some real opportunities that are like exciting, like here in Long Beach. You can literally go to Cal State Long Beach, study engineering, and go work in the space sector in your own community. But let's say you, like this next generation, let's say you don't go to Cal State, you go to Long Beach City College and you study, let's say, welding. Well, welding's about $45 an hour working in Space Beach, and for every engineering job, it's going to be 6 to 8 technical jobs and welding jobs at Space Beach. That $45 an hour today is the kind of wage that it takes to like afford housing in Long Beach and have a quality of place and a good school district and access to, you know, other things. Like there's always this talk about your children won't be able to have jobs, you're going to go to Texas. Don't nobody want to go to Texas. People want to stay here. Take those $20 jobs to Texas and bring me the $45 jobs and give them to our young people so they can live here. I think about things like that. So space is exciting. I think information is certainly exciting. I'm gonna be honest, I do get nervous because, you know, I'm a father now, so I get nervous about just the economics of the future for young people. Student debt is like crazy right now. Like it costs so much money to get an education. I like what Biden-Harris administration is doing with debt cancellation. I think that's key. I'm fortunate. I got my student debt canceled. I got my student debt canceled. Because if you work in public service for 10 years, and I did, I worked for the city of Long Beach for more than 10 years, and that qualified me to have my student debt canceled. My brother-in-law, my sister, my wife's got like 30 more payments to go, and she's smarter than me. We met at Dominguez Hills in student government, and she was also first-generation student from Inglewood, but she went on to USC, did her master's and doctorate, and that was expensive. So I'm looking forward to that student debt cancellation for her too, because we making them payments. But these are the things I think about for the next generation. Like, make sure you have a plan, right? I like to say, plan your work, work your plan, have a plan for your life, or somebody will have a plan for you. My mother would say, grow up and get an education so no one can take it away from you, right? All those things are going to be the same for our children that they were for us. And so, I don't know. I'm optimistic about the opportunities that the future will have, but I'm also, just concerned about the economy. That's the best thing I can say. So let's do some final thoughts or whatever. I want to just start by just thanking everybody here, all of you, for coming out. I think you had some great questions. It was a good conversation. This is our second year. We're going to keep this thing going. I also think it's going to be hard to top next year because, we got Vince Staples this year. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have Vince Staples last year. So, Vince, I just want to thank you for making time to come out. You always answer the call, man. I know you're very, very humble, which is a very good quality and rare in someone in entertainment. But you're always humble, but you always show up when we call you. So we really appreciate it. Any final thoughts?
I appreciate that. Just if you're in this building and you're already on the right path, you're already doing the right thing, and just trust yourself. Life not that hard. We just make it hard. So trust yourself, interact with each other, make sure y'all know each other, and that'll go a long way. But thank you for having me.
All right, let's hear it for Vince Staples, folks.